rose above his throne.
Okay.
To, for example, affirm it, we have to affirm it.
What does it mean to affirm for you?
That's what I'm saying. Like, we acknowledge that God Almighty rose above his throne. It's
Okay.
obviously the way he befits his majesty.
Understand. So
How he's done it is innovation.
Okay.
And anyone that, for example, asks or questions of how this happened, in what way, if it means he rose, does it mean that his throne was above him and he was below? We don't go into these.
So this is important, right? And keep that sort of mindset for what is going to basically proceed later. What you've detailed, right, is that the information regarding the actual notion of descent, the idea of descent, cannot be accessed. The notion of descent.
Sorry to stop you. Sheikh. Okay. My teacher's there. I think it would be better to answer, but the reason I'm saying this is that you probably, Sheikh, can you come sit here?
I need to speak to her.
I'll speak to her. I'll speak to her. Okay, just quickly about Allah descending. Yeah, we affirm He descends, but the way He does, we don't know.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we descend the way that befits His majesty.
That's it.
Okay. Is he going to speak with me, or is it you that's...
No, it's just a reply. So Allah says in the Quran, if you don't know something, ask someone. Even though I know the answer.
That's fine.
But I
You just want to check,
just
it's
wanted
fine.
to reaffirm, and that's the answer to it.
So this is important, right?
It's the difference between, like, for example, in Christianity, you believe that God Almighty entered His creation.
Okay, this is important.
Not only that, He became the creation.
So this is important.
While He was a creator.
Okay, so if this is important.
Yeah.
So so early Christians, for example, the majority of Christianity would be Roman Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxy, Oriental Orthodoxy, certain notions of Protestantism. Most of those notions, they do not convey the fact that the essence of God does the action of descent. So they do not believe that. So for example, for Eastern Orthodox...
It's worse than that. If the issue was descent...
Hold on, for Eastern Orthodox, right? They do not believe that God, the essence of God, does the action of descending. They actually deny this. So they believe that God is communicable through His energies, the divine activities or actions or operations of God that can be conveyed in the world. That is not the essence of God doing the action of entering creation. Even with the incarnation itself, it isn't that the essence of God swims inside Jesus and then like does bib-bobs around and does stuff. We will come to that, guaranteed. Hopefully we'll come to that, but I just want to address the issue that you said about descent, right? This mindset that you have is extremely important because what you're conveying essentially is this notion that you affirm a statement. That is enough, right? You're affirming a statement, God descends. However, the information contained in the statement, God descends, you can't access that. So by definition, the statement would be non-cognitive, as you can see.
Let's say, okay, yeah.
But by definition, like remember you agreed on the recording, you said that non-cognitive statements are meaningless. So if the statement Allah descends is non-cognitive and it therefore is meaningless, then the statement Allah descends, if we try to just do some sort of reduction, it would also be meaningless.
What do you mean by meaningless?
It doesn't actually contain any sort of information regarding an objective feature of a state of affairs because the information itself can't be accessed.
Who said it needs to be accessed?
Well, the definition of a cognitive statement.
That's fine, but I don't go through these premises.
It's not from hearsay. It's the fact that the information itself, right, is what allows for the content to be objectionable, objective feature in reality.
That's fine. But what I'm saying is, there are things that God Almighty does that He does the way it befits His majesty. If I need to know everything about God with you said cognitive statements,
it is not that you need to know. For example, right?
It is because
anything that is
we don't know how He does that.
So, for example, if I say the statement God exists, if that statement is not cognitive, that statement is meaningless.
God descending is a cognitive statement, right?
Right. You said that it's a cognitive statement.
No. Let's say if we say it's a cognitive statement, yeah?
Then the information can be accessed.
No. What do you mean by access?
It can be ascertained in a certain way, whether in this life or in the next.
Okay, good. Whether in this life or in the hereafter.
Sure.
In this life, no. In the hereafter, for example, we know that we will be seeing God Almighty.
Okay.
So that is a cognitive statement.
So would you say
how that information, how we will see Him, what that will mean? We affirm that we will see Him.
So,
but how we will see Him, how does that work? We don't know.
So will you, for example, will you affirm in the next life? Will you be able to know the content in the statement Allah descends? Maybe. Is it a certainty that it can be possible?
Of course, why would it not be? We might know. We might ask God Almighty, like, I wanted to know how did you descend into the...
How did you descend? Right.
Simple. But the thing is, if you have an issue with that, you have a massive problem. Like,
it's simply that. Hold on.
No. If you have an issue with that, then it's like self-defeating, you know, it's like you're shooting yourself.
Why would it be self-defeating? You kind of have to walk through that, right?
No, let me tell you why. It's like you're shooting yourself in the context where you believe God Almighty sent His Son, and He became His Son, and His Son died, which was Himself, for the sacrifice of the sin that He created, for all mankind to repent, believing that Jesus died for
That seems to be a very reductionist notion of what we say.
Whatever you want to call it. The point
Right,
is
but that isn't actually the notion that we supply, though.
No. Do you believe that Jesus was sent by the Father?
Well, yeah, economically, sure.
Okay, no problem. Is Jesus the Father?
Well, no, the hypostasis of Jesus is not the hypostasis of the Father.
Okay. Is Jesus God?
Well, yeah, by essence, yeah.
Okay, is the Father God?
That's by essence.
Okay, how can the Father not be Jesus if they are both God?
Because it's the respective hypostasis. So a hypostasis, for example, is an underlying reality. Now, what you have in like Greek philosophy and stuff like that is a hypostasis is simply a mode of subsistence. So if I say, for example, that you exist and I exist, I'm saying that although we would both like in some sort of notion have like, although we would have some sort of notion of what it means of what we are, like a human being, right? The mode of subsistence would be different. Now, we would have to inquire into, we would have to inquire into the mode of subsistence of like the Son, we would have to inquire into the mode of subsistence of the Father and the Son, so we can actually walk through this. So what the early Christians did is they basically portrayed in what way the Son is said to be God and in what way He's said to be a different hypostasis than the Father. So if you believe as an individual that God is all-knowing, for example, right? Cool. Does He know, so does He know Himself? Does God know Himself? Does God have all knowledge of who He is of Himself, of what He is of Himself?
How could He not know Himself?
It's just a yes. Either He does or He does not. It's not that it's not that how He could not know. It's simply whether He does or does not, right? So if He does, right, because He is all-knowing, He also has complete full knowledge of Himself, right? Now, this self-knowledge of Himself would contain everything that is of about God as an agent, for example. So the fact that He's uncreated would be in this knowledge of God. The fact that He's eternal, the fact that He is all-powerful, the fact of so on and so on and so on. But also the fact of His existence would also be in this self-knowledge. And that self-knowledge of Himself would also exist. Because if the self-knowledge of Himself does not exist, then it doesn't exist. It's a tautology. Right?
I'll be honest with you. There's so many words you're using. It's very simple to me. I want to really break this down for the lay people because you're just using so many terms.
But we don't believe that this is just a random layman topic.
No, I know. But it is for some people.
No.
Well,
not necessarily, right?
It's very simple. Do you believe God is one and unique?
So this is the issue, right?
Do you believe God is one and unique?
Could I just respond to the notion that you said before, right?
I'm asking you a question. Do you believe God, within His nature, can He be?
What does that statement mean?
His nature.
His nature. What does nature mean?
His nature, what defines who He is.
Defines who He is.
Who He is, yes.
So who He is not the same as what He is, correct? Who God is and what God is are not the same. Are they the same?
Who He is and what He is.
Are they the same?
I would assume He exists.
That's very. Okay, thank you.
Who He is and what He is.
So this is important, right? If you're assuming that they are the same, then you would need to prove why that notion certainly exists, right?
But it's very simple. Do you accept God in His nature is infinite?
God in His nature is infinite?
Yes.
All right, so what He is infinite, yes. But that's not who He is. He's not infinitude itself.
No.
Unless you believe that God is infinitude Himself.
It's semantics.
That isn't a semantic notion. This is something that has been debated in philosophy for a long time.
It's semantics. Philosophy to a side.
So why would it be semantics?
God Almighty has no beginning and no end.
Ali, why would it be semantics?
Does God Almighty have no beginning?
Could you just answer the question that I asked you first,
God
right?
Almighty have no beginning and no end?
It depends on what that statement means.
Alpha and Omega. No beginning and no end.
No beginning in time, as in. So the essence of God, right? The essence of God does not have any beginning on it, right? Yes. So the essence is not the who, right?
Okay, 1 second. Can God Almighty, who created the heavens and the earth,
yes,
did He have a point He began to exist?
Well, He's outside of time. He's atemporal.
Did He have a point of existence?
A point of existence? I don't know what that means. But if it means that,
does it mean that he began to exist at one point?
it doesn't mean that. No, he doesn't begin to exist.
Okay, good.
So this is
Is there a point he
if I could please
Is there a
respond,
point
that would
where he
be.
decided not to exist?
If I could please respond, that would be very helpful.
We're going through something.
Because when I gave you the notion, right, you tried to wave it away as if it was semantics, right?
It's
You would need to
semantics.
show. So semantics, if you know, right, semantics is one of the studies of truth itself, right? So if you are interested in truth or the study of truth, for example, theology, right, which is the study of truth, you would also be invested into knowing like semantics, which is simply just the notion supplied by concepts, right? So when you take the concept of the term God, or you take the concept of the term, for example, God exists or anything like that, you're saying that the statement is cognitive and you could potentially access it in the next life, correct? Now,
But going back to the first point.
But that was the first point.
I'm asking about God's nature. Yeah?
yes, but you don't. But there's no cognitive information in this world.
I'm saying no. No, there
Is there any cognitive information in this world about what God is?
There is information in this world
Okay.
that is given
About-
to us in
about what God
intuition.
is.
We have an intuition. Okay, that God Almighty has no beginning. and no end.
How would you say that intuition would be some sort of mind-dependent feature? By definition, intuition is mind-dependent. It is dependent on your thoughts and your conceptions. By definition, it would be a subjective
God
feature.
Almighty has created our minds.
God created our minds, and when you use the mind, it's a subjective notion.
No, but still,
Yeah.
it is something that
By definition, it's a subjective
we
feature.
know, for example, that the aql will never go against the naql. The naql is the text.
Is that
Let me finish.
is that an akal statement?
Let me finish.
Is that a statement using your mind?
Let me finish. Yeah. Okay. Of course it is.
So you're using the akal over the knuckle to say that there is no akal
No,
over
I'm not saying
knuckle.
that. I'm saying
But that's what is
we
concluded.
take the naql over the aql.
But you used your akal to get to that conclusion.
Yes, of course.
So you just took the akal over the knuckle in that
God
example.
Almighty has given us our logic, and what we have in our logic will not go against who He is and what He is.
All right. So do you believe logic
what
is
I'm saying
eternal?
So what I'm saying is, in a nutshell, as a person who believes in the Trinity, it's look, I'll be honest, it's a messy place to be.
Ali, do you believe that logic is eternal?
I don't blame you for using all these words and all this. I was speaking to Paperboy. He said
Ali,
to me,
Ali, that is
eyes,
Ali. Ali,
speed,
focus on
and
the state.
water.
Focus on the content that I'm actually giving you.
Simple.
Ali,
You are in a position.
Ali, focus on the
where
content that I'm
Trinity
giving you,
makes
right?
Absolutely
Ali,
no sense.
Ali, focus on the content that I'm
And that's the
giving you,
reason
right?
why you are absolutely
So what I'm
trying
doing,
your best to
no.
absolutely
Ali,
ignore
Ali.
it at any cost.
So-
At any cost.
Ali,
It's very simple.
Ali,
Does God Almighty have a beginning?
Ali, I answered the questions before,
Does God have a beginning?
and I'm going to respond to the actual notion that you supplied before, right?
Does he have a
So this is the issue that we have.
Does he have a beginning?
When you supply certain notions about
Does he have
God
a beginning?
in creation or even outside of creation,
have a beginning?
you are using akali
Does God
statements
Almighty have a beginning?
to be able to say
can't
that
answer
you
it.
take the akal over the
I don't
knuckle.
blame you.
Anyone that's seen the recording can see that I
don't
answered the
blame-
statement
I don't
already.
blame
So
that
Ali,
you're not answering.
answer
You
the
know why?
question.
Because
Are you using your
you
akal
tried
over the
your
knuckle
best
when
to
you
avoid
say
it.
that you take the
If I
knuckle
believe
over
in
the
Trinity,
akal?
I'll be honest, I'll never come to the park.
Ali Dawah,
You know why?
can you please
Because
answer
if
my
I come to
question?
the park, I'm going to be stuck.
Ali, answer my
All these
question.
philosophical terms and deductions.
These words supplied by the early Christians themselves.
It's just a cop-out.
It's not a cop-out.
Because
It is
you know,
supplied by the
Trinity
early
makes
Christians themselves.
absolutely no
And when I
sense.
explained the concept, you didn't have
You know,
anything.
it
You
makes
just
no
said that
sense.
you don't
And
understand.
you've got your sideman here talking for you.
You're just
And that's the
insulting.
reason why
Just
you're wearing
focus
your
on the
glasses
statement that you
and
have.
show your face. That's the reason why.
The reason I
That's the
don't show my
why
face is for the sake of
you cannot
anonymity.
answer- No,
Because
you
my
cannot
argument is
answer
what
it.
is important
You know
rather
why?
than who
If
I
I
am.
believe in the Trinity,
So
I would make
Ali,
sure I wear a mask.
please make sure
So,
that you answer
do
the
you
actual
believe that God
cognitive
has a
information
beginning?
that I've supplied
God
in my
has a
statement.
beginning.
Ali, answer my statement.
Does God have a beginning?
Answer my statement.
Does God have a beginning?
You can refer to what I said before.
Does God have a beginning?
Refer to what I said before. So Ali,
Does God
this
have
is
a
the
beginning?
issue that we have, right?
Right.
Ali, this is the issue that we have, okay? When you say that you take the knuckle over the akal, for example, that is an akali statement, right? You are using your akal to come to that conclusion. You're essentially using certain notions that even Augustine himself uses when he speaks to some of his personal friends. You are taking the akal over the knuckle to conclude that you must take the knuckle over the akal. It's a paradoxical certain instance, okay? Now, what I would say to you is this. Insofar as you're taking the akal over the knuckle to supply that you must take the knuckle over the akal, you are taking the akal over the knuckle, right? So the issue that I have with you is that if you want to deny philosophy, well, logic is a tenet of philosophy. You would have to deny the use of logic. But if you are not denying the use of logic, what you're going to be using it is in some sort of relativistic notion when you feel like using logic, which would kind of be erroneous, right? Because you kind of use it against anyone else that you believe is illogical, for example. When I explained the conception of the Trinity, for example, I used the way that the early Christian scholars did. So, for example, Augustine, Jerome, Gregory Nazianzen, other individuals, right? Now, these are high-level topics, right? And if a layman wants to discuss them, I would say that perhaps they may be wrong. However, they should at least read up on the material that has been provided for them, right? Now, for example, for you, when you use certain statements and you remember beforehand, you tried to examine the two options of whether they were cognitive or whether they were non-cognitive. You started off by saying, okay, they're non-cognitive because the information can't be accessed. Now, what I would ask for you for the sake of information is there anywhere in your creed where you can believe that you can access these cognitive statements about God in the next life? Is there somewhere in the creed that states that you can?
Does God begin to exist?
Could you answer the question I just asked you?
Does God begin to exist?
I referred to my statement before. Could you answer the question
I'll answer
then?
as a Muslim. We don't believe God begins to exist.
So, Ali,
As you can see, guys,
could you
that's what it takes.
answer the statement that I
See,
gave
the
you?
difference between me-
Ali, answer the content of the
It's a simple
statement.
question, guys.
Ali,
Does God
you're
begin
just
to
speaking
exist?
to the audience. You're appealing to the audience right now. It's
Theist.
fallacious, right?
But look, it's a theist.
So, Ali,
A
focus on what I'm
simple
saying,
question.
right? So,
If I
the
went
issue
and
that we
asked
have
a
specifically, right,
five-year-old-
is
if I
this.
asked my five-year-old
If you
daughter,
want to
does God
say
begin
that the
to
information
exist?
can be accessed
Say,
in the
Daddy,
next
no,
life,
God doesn't
that
begin
must
to
mean
exist.
it is because that information exists in your creed. For example, if you believe God is one, right, that is because your creed allows you to believe such a thing. If you believe that that information can be accessed in the next life, that's because your creed allows you. So where in your creed does it allow you to do such?
Does God begin to exist?
I referred to my statement before. So where in the statement does it say that?
Do I blame him? No. I don't
Where in
blame
the
him at
statement
all.
does it say, Ali?
Because as a
Ali,
person
just answer my
who
question.
believes in the Trinity,
Ali, answer my question.
this question is
Ali,
a
you're
knockout.
appealing to the audience
It's a
again.
knockout.
Can you please answer my question?
God doesn't begin
Can you
to
please
exist.
answer my question? The essence of God does not begin to
doesn't
exist. Please answer my question.
Does God die?
The essence of God does not
God
die. And we need to
Does
inquire
God
into what
die?
death means.
Does God die?
What does that word mean?
Does God die?
What does death mean?
Cease to exist.
That's erroneous. No, death does not mean to cease to exist. No. Hold on. No, that is not the definition of death.
Okay, what's the definition of death?
The disconnection of the human soul from the human body.
No. Okay, I'm talking about ceasing to exist.
No,
Not
okay,
existing
that's an
again.
atheistic definition.
Yes, I'm not talking about coming to life.
That's
I'm
an
asking you,
atheistic
can
notion.
God Almighty
Hold on.
cease to exist?
Where in your creed does it define death as
No,
ceasing to
it
exist?
doesn't. Fuck you, look, she answered it for you.
Hold on.
She's doing a camera
Does it-
work.
does it-
She's doing a
does-
better
okay.
job than you.
Is
They
there
never
anywhere
cease
in
to
his
exist.
creed where it says that death
Thank
means
you very
cease to
much.
exist?
There you go. Now, guys.
It doesn't exist.
Now, guys.
Your own camera woman said, right?
That's
The
not
camera
my
woman
camera
said, I don't even know who it is.
That's so good films, mate.
So the camera
So
woman
good films.
even says,
That's so good films.
I don't know who. I don't. Again, I don't know. I didn't know that she was.
Thank you.
I didn't know that
There
she
you
was.
go.
So this is the
But
issue that
guess
we
what?
have.
This lady-
You defined
this
death
lady
wrong.
Answered it. She said,
Ali,
no,
Ali,
God cannot
you
cease to
defined
exist.
death wrong.
But
So
what
what
does
we have is
Christian
this,
say?
right?
What did they
She
say?
defines death as
There was
to
a
cease
moment
to
of
exist.
time
But
that
there is
God
nowhere in
died.
his creed, or at least until we present such,
died.
where it says
And that's why
that
he's
death
having a
means to
tantrum.
cease to exist,
Why
right?
is he having a tantrum? Look, he's been here.
It's an
Talking,
atheistic notion.
yeah? The
Ali,
reason he's going in a
Ali,
tantrum,
it's an atheistic
this
notion.
Lady, this
Ali,
young lady,
it's an atheistic notion.
Signal.
Ali,
No, he
you're
doesn't.
using an atheistic
Well, as you
notion.
can see, guys,
Ali, you're using an
when we're
atheistic
talking to
notion.
them, they are
Ali,
looking
Ali,
Almighty.
the notion that
Desperate
you cease
times
again,
call for desperate
the
measures.
notion that you say that you
Look at
cease
you.
to
Look,
exist,
look,
right?
look at you. Look,
Does
the
that
lady,
mean
stop it.
if you're gonna insult
You're
me, then that's
stop it. I
fine?
never insulted you.
Yes, you did. You
Go
said,
on,
look at this
did
guy.
I
You're
said,
implicitly
does God
doing it.
cease to exist?
Yeah, God does not
She
cease
said,
to exist.
look, she's a
The,
camera woman.
the essence of God does not
She's
cease to
recording.
exist.
She goes, no,
So
he
now
doesn't.
that I finished, now that I've answered your statement,
So,
right?
Did God die?
Did God die?
Yes.
Insofar as he separated the human body from the human soul, if that's what death means, then yes, that is fine. The son rightly can be to die.
1 second. Can God cease to exist, man?
That's not his
Thank you.
definition of
That's not my definition of death.
So, can
So
God
let's
cease
do
to
this, guys.
exist?
Ladies and gentlemen, what I want to do is this.
Can God Almighty,
He defines
in
death
his human
as to
nature,
cease to exist.
die? Yes.
So Ali, can I ask you a question? Why do you define death
I
in
don't
an
need to say
atheistic
anything else.
sense?
You can talk.
Why do you
I'm not
define
gonna listen to you.
Ali? Why do you
I'm not
define
gonna
death in
listen
an atheistic
I'm not gonna
sense?
listen to you.
Remember in the statement before, you said that
listen to you.
when an atheist dies, an atheist believes that they stop existing, right? That they do that become nothing, right?
I'm gonna listen to you.
So Ali, this is the issue that we have.
Desperate times call for desperate
Ali, this is the issue that we have, right? When you say that God, when you say that death means to cease to exist, right?
Imagine God died.
This is just a
Can you imagine
doxastic.
the one who created all
You're
this?
just doing a doxastic
Died.
notion, right? Actually answer the
what's it called?
cognitive
What notion?
information. It's a doxastic notion. You're just trying to do
What was
praise.
it? I'm not pronouncing it.
Doxastic.
Doxastic.
Like a doxology.
Look, call it doxology, masophology,
Doxology.
monocolobology. Like you said, non-cognitive statements, yes?
It's not a non-cognitive
Look,
statement.
I
That
swear to
statement
God, let me
contains
tell you
information.
something. Let me tell you something.
Ali,
Non-cognitive statements.
you define
are
death in an
better-
atheistic way.
Non-cognitive statements are better than what you were taught. At least somebody who says.
So,
at least there's
so,
nothing. What
so,
do you say? You
so
didn't-
meaningless information is
Somebody
better than
come and
cognitive
say,
statements, right?
God died.
So
Look,
at least
God
you
died.
accept that
God died.
notion, right?
Bro, let me ask you a question.
So here's the issue that
Which
we
one is
have,
worse?
right?
Which one is worse?
Why are you not talking to me?
Or God died. Which one is worse?
So, for example,
I would
hold
go
on.
with.
So, for example, right?
At least
If I define death as cease to exist, then maybe that would make sense. However, if I define death, yeah, sure. If I define death differently, that thing will come different.
All day.
Yeah, you just said that a non-cognitive statement is worse than a cognitive statement.
I would prefer saying
Are non-cognitive statements worse than cognitive statements? Are they worse than cognitive statements?
All day, every day.
Would you prefer non-cognitive statements with cognitive statements, Ali?
I will go with non-cognitive statements.
So, okay, so you would rather have meaningless statements than meaningful statements. That's fine. So here is the issue that we have, Ali, right? You define death in an atheistic manner. You said to me that when an individual dies, they cease to exist. That is an atheistic notion because atheists are the ones that believe that when you die, nothing happens. You become nothing. Now, theists believe that when you die, you do not stop existing. Your soul is disconnected metaphysically from your body. So this is the issue that we have. You are defining death in an atheistic manner, Ali. Ali, why are you defining death atheistically?
One word.
Ali, why are you defining death atheistically?
Which one is insulting?
Why don't you answer my question?
Bro, he's not listening. Bro, what's your name?
No, it's fine.
No, he's
So,
not listening.
what? I was listening the whole time.
What's your name?
He's been speaking, so this is the issue that we have, right?
Which one offends you more? Or you're a waste man? Which one are you offended over?
Sir Adib,
But why?
Sir Adib, let me ask you
No,
this,
I said
right?
why?
Hold on, let me ask you this.
Because
Adib,
I'm insulting you.
Get to the point.
The point is this, bro. This is what he's saying, yeah? This guy, I'm talking about the Trinity. I'm talking about God's
This
nature,
guy
yeah?
what?
He's trying his... I'm saying, can God die? Like, cease to exist. Forget that, okay. Can God cease to exist?
I said,
Because he
I
believes in the
referred to my
Trinity,
statement before.
Because he believes in the Trinity and he knows there's problems with it, I'm saying, I would rather say, than say Allah has a partner.
So this is the issue that we have, right?
So he's saying that's a non-cognitive statement, yeah?
No, I didn't say
I would
that.
rather go with a non-cognitive statement.
That's not
than
what I
say
said.
that God become a man and died.
Hold on. So this is what.
Are you admitting that you're using non-cognitive statements then? Are you admitting that publicly?
Okay, what is this?
It's a non-cognitive
Yes,
statement.
I'm using that.
Okay. So this is the issue that we have. So this is my point, right? What I started with saying was basically,
You know why?
Ali, I was silent when you were speaking. Ali, I need to finish. Ali, I need to finish.
Okay. So
this is the information that we have to. Hold on. I'm gonna finish.
Brother, you been speaking
So
for 15
no, I'm
minutes.
gonna finish. So it's my turn to talk to you, right? So this is the information that we have, right?
Let me make my point and then
When
go
you
to
make a statement, that statement contains
What
information,
I'm saying
correct?
is very simple.
Right?
I would rather
If you
say-
tell me the apple is red, that statement contains information. You understand, right? Now,
Simple as that.
when an atheist defines death, they define death as nothing happens afterwards. That means that when you die, you cease to exist, right? However, Ali defined it the exact same way. So I said that you are using an atheistic notion, idea of what death means. Now, as a theist, I don't believe that when I die, I cease to exist, because death is defined differently in actually the Judaistic traditions and the Christian tradition. In the Christian tradition, death is the separation of the soul from the body, instead of the cessation of existence. So, using that definition of death and taking into account the hypostatic union, what we would do, are you cutting the recording? What we would do is this.
So close to Allah anyways.
Yeah, exactly. But does your soul...
It says Allah
Hold on.
died.
Does your...
No, no,
Hold
Allah
on.
never dies.
Hold on. Does your
Allah
soul...
never dies.
Okay, I understand. Does your soul
Even
stop
though,
existing?
wallahi,
Hold on. You're lying about what I believe.
Wallahi, this
Hold on.
is what it says in here.
Do you believe... I understand. Do you believe that your soul stops existing?
Wallahi, you
Hold
do
on.
an amazing job, Auntie.
Do you believe... Ali,
Wallahi,
do you believe your soul stops existing?
better than you.
Do you believe that your soul stops existing?
Auntie, can Allah
Do you
die?
believe that your soul stops existing?
Was Allah born?
No.
Excuse me, Auntie. Do you believe that when you... Auntie, do you believe that when you die, your soul stops existing? Your soul stops existing.
Please give the mic to her. Wallahi, she did an amazing job.
All right, so this is the issue that we have then, right? So death is being defined in an atheistic notion. So Ali, just for the recording, Ali,
May Allah bless you. Wallahi,
why are you
there go.
using an atheistic
Auntie,
idea
you
of
should come
death?
here more often.
Ali,
You need to join
answer
our
the
team.
question.
You have to join our team.
Ali, why are you using an atheistic notion of death?
Which is, I think, enough for everyone.
Ali,
Allah is
why
one.
are you using an atheistic notion of death?
Right?
Right?
Allah one or
Well, the
three.
reason why he's using an atheistic
Allah
notion of
one
death
or three.
is because he doesn't understand the nuances and what death can mean to a certain religion, right?
Wallahi.
So the issue that we have is this, right?
Listen, learn.
Hold on.
Learn.
Why are you using an atheistic notion for death?
At least she doesn't wear a niqab. She doesn't cover her face.
Ali, why are you using an atheistic notion for death?
I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Why are you using an atheistic notion of death? So you're stopping with me now. So you're running away.
Like Muhammad Ijab says.
Listen, answer the question. You're using an atheistic notion of death. Ali.
I was thinking.
Ali, you're using an atheistic notion of death.
You're covering your face because you have the face.
I have a sore throat as well, but
No,
why
I
are you
said
using
I'm
atheistic
sore.
notion
I
of
said you're
death?
covering your face.
Yeah, I know, and I said I have a sore
You know
throat.
why? Because if you
Ali,
think God can die, I wouldn't
why
want
are
to
you
see your face
using
either.
an atheistic
No wonder you're
notion
covering your
of
face.
death? Ali, when you die, does your soul stop existing? Does your soul stop existing? Why are you stopping the conversation?
Running away.
He admitted that Islamic theology is a non-cognitive statement, which is equal to blah,
So-
blah, blah, blah.
So this is the issue that we have, right? For example, my friend, right? When you die, does your soul stop existing? Right. So death doesn't mean that you stop existing, right? Exactly. Well, but this is the issue, right? So if anything dies, it does not mean that it ceases to exist, right? It means that it undergoes a certain change. So for example, if
go to the destination, that's the destination. After
exactly, but you still exist, right? Thank you. So this is the issue that, hold on. So, no, I understand that. So this is the issue that we have, right? Atheists are the people that say that when you die, you cease to exist. You are nothing, right? But I am not an atheist, so I define death differently. Now, in the recording, Ali, I don't know if he's going to cut it out, but Ali said that death means that you stop existing. Now, I believe that the essence of God does not cease to exist. I said this in the recording, so I just refer back to the statement, so I don't need to repeat it. Did Jesus, yeah. So this is the issue that we have, right? Yeah. So this is the issue that we have, right? Hold on, you said you're stopping. Are you still talking to me? Are you still talking to me?
I'm talking to the.
So you're right. There you go. So you're not talking to me. So this is the issue that we have, right? So
God died on the cross.
when we say the term death means that your soul and your body that were once united are separated. Exactly. It's a very easy notion. So if it was able, if for example one of the underlying realities of the Trinity, they were for example able to unite with themselves to humanity, they could separate that human body from that human soul. That is the actual concept at play. It doesn't mean that the essence of God itself has to swim inside Jesus' body and start doing stuff. For example, yeah, I understand.
Where does Jesus come from now? It's only.
So in one respect, we would say that Jesus Christ is unchangeable and eternal, and in another respect, in the respect of his humanity, we would say that, for example, Jesus Christ can do actions like cry, sleep, and so on. Okay. So there is a nuance when we actually talk about these things, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm basically saying is this. Death is an action that is done through humanity, okay? The only way that an individual, a human being can die is if their soul and their body are removed. If you have a soul and a body in a certain respect, you can do the action of dying. Because dying means to remove to separate the body and soul. Now, here's the question that we would have now, right? The soul that you have, right? Is your soul inside your body? This is important. Well, no, right? Because the term inside means a spatial location by definition, right? If I say I went into the room, that's a spatial notion, right? I'm going from one space to another. Because the soul isn't physical, the soul isn't literally inside the body, right? However, there is a unity between the body and a unity with the soul. So your body and soul are united. When you die, that unity, that connection is lost. It is severed for some time. When you come back to life, the unity is gone again. So the point is this. He defines death as you stop existing. I define death as what I've just told you, right? So,
Auntie doesn't stop. Auntie.
So to stop exist mean that you. So to stop, but here's the thing. Your soul is again.
Says Allah dies.
So this is the thing. So great. So if you're using.
Auntie, you need to be on camera. You're gonna be famous.
I'm gonna clarify.
Ali, clarify that.
Brother, clarify, please, man.
He didn't clarify.
Brother, it's clear. Brother, it's clear.
He clarified with an atheist definition, right? So here's the issue that your soul and your body are disconnected.
What happens to us?
This is semantics.
Exactly.
One will say cease to exist.
Exactly.
What is it? Okay, this is an important question, right? So this is an important question. When you say that something doesn't exist, right, that means that it is the negation, right? So this is the issue that we have, okay?
Intellectually bankrupt, I have to run away.
So okay, that's fine. So this is the issue that we have. He defined it in an atheist notion. So this is what we do, right? So with the person of the Son. Oh, you need the chair? That's completely fine.